Tonight, it's Memorial Day, and you know what that means. We're here to talk about AEW Double or Nothing, or, as the internet has deemed it, the worst pay-per-view of all time. Plus, a crazed Canadian man literally gets his mouth stapled shut. And we answer the question, are pro wrestling fans the stupidest fans in all of entertainment? This and so much more right now on So-Dagan Wrestling GEEKLY Live. Yo, what's up, everybody?
That was amazing.
I don't know if any of y'all have used to watch the Colbert Report from back in the day, but I took a little inspiration from that. We're here on Memorial Day. Sunday was yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was also AEW Double or Nothing, which we had fun watching. We were here live watching it. And, as it was going, I was thinking, man, this is a pretty awesome pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And I did not hit her. I did not.
I actually own the DVD of that.
So I did not really go on the internet and see what the chatter was as the show was live. I was very entertained and kind of absorbed into what we were watching, and didn't go on to see what people were saying until after the show had ended. And boy, I mean, you talk about just some of the stupidest opinions that you can read out there. I think a lot of these people are probably just, WWE shills.
Yeah.
The E-drones as they're known as.
Non-fans, as I like to call them.
They go on there with their fat little fucking fingers and they say how the AEW sucks. This is the worst fucking show. It's a disaster. Tony Khan is the worst booker ever. This show fucking sucks. You know what, guys? As a wise man once said, it doesn't matter what you think. Your opinion, I'm sorry to say, breaking fucking news here on the show. It does not matter. Nobody cares what you think.
And if you do decide to tell people what you think, don't be an asshole. Don't be a dick.
Why do you have to go and shit on something that people are enjoying just because it's not your thing?
Yeah.
Like, go enjoy your thing. Let people enjoy their thing. Like, why do you gotta...
I'm looking at you, Jim Cornette. No, I'm kidding.
Who?
I said, I'm looking at you, Jim Cornette. I'm kidding.
But anyway, whatever. I honestly, these people, again, they don't... Tony Khan is not going to read your comments and then go, oh, okay, I'll do something. No, Tony Khan is going to continue to book the show the way he's going to book it. And I'm sorry that it doesn't, if you're not into it, but you really got to just you got to just shut the fuck up, internet. I'm sorry. But, other than that, hey, look, I had a great time watching this show. Were there a couple matches? Okay, look, there are people out there that are true wrestling fans, the AEW fans that watch this show and maybe had some issues with some of the matches in the middle or whatever, which is fine. I didn't as much. I thought that the matches were just fine. A couple of them maybe a little underwhelming, but the Battle Royal, that was an awesome freaking opener with Orange Cassidy retaining the titles. I think a lot of us thought he would. And, then you had the Jericho and Cole match, which I think was a little bit of a letdown for a lot of people. So maybe that's what...
More so the ending than anything else.
Yeah, and maybe that's why people are saying, the stuff in the middle was tough to get through, but which I still don't really understand that. I thought that the stuff in the middle of the show was good. It was more so just this Jericho Cole match, which I think... Maybe they were just holding a lot back for the next match, or I think what we were saying when we were watching it is that they just they didn't want to go completely batshit crazy with the blood and everything, even though it was an unsanctioned match because of how much we were going to get later with Anarchy in the arena.
No,
So,
yeah, we called it, and we were right. All the violence happened later.
But I thought the tag title match was a lot of fun with FTR and Mark Briscoe and the role that he has been playing in this whole thing. And we talked about how great Jeff Jarrett still looks at his age and how his run in AEW has been like surprisingly great. We thought, oh no, it's Jeff Jarrett's going to be on TV each week. But number one, I don't feel like he's taken time away from anybody. And number two, he's putting guys over. So in that sense, I really have been liking that. I thought the ladder match was really good. It was a really solid bout between Christian, who's, as we know, a master of ladder matches, and Luchasaurus getting his finger bitten off, literally, by Arn Anderson.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, and then I think maybe this is what people are talking about when they're criticizing the middle of the show. Mm-hmm. But I think a little bit unfairly, given that the women's match had to kind of be a short thing with a lot of shenanigans involved to cause the title change because of the injury to Jamie Hayter. Now, we don't have any follow-up yet to like how serious that injury is. They haven't really said anything. I'm surprised nobody asked about that at the press conference. I was like, what the fuck are y'all waiting for? You're asking these other dumb questions. Collision and CM Punk and all this stuff. And it's like, he's not going to say anything about that stuff until later on. He said that like repeatedly during the show. I can't announce anything for Collision yet because of the Warner Brothers. So it's like, I think that unfairly people are crapping on this because, they had to do the title change to get the belt off Jamie. Mm-hmm. But, whatever. We had the House of Black open challenge thing with the Acclaimed. I loved their rap. It was just absolutely brilliant.
It was an extended cut as well.
Yeah, and going after Dominic was great. Ripley posted that they're super over in multiple companies.
Yeah,
which I thought was pretty funny.
Awesome. God, I love wrestling.
Yeah. And then I thought Jade Cargill and Taya Valkyrie over-delivered. I think a lot of people were saying this match was not going to be very good based on the first match that they had, which was kind of just but I thought this was really, really solid. And Jade has improved dramatically over the last year in ring-wise. But, I think a lot of people are sick of her run here, which has been the plan was for Statlander to win the belt for a long ass time now, months and months and months, but she got hurt. So I think a lot of people are kind of like annoyed that they had to drag it out as much as they did. They could have done it. I think they could have had Athena beat Jade, and then Athena turns heel like she's been doing, having this run as the Ring of Honor champion. She easily could have had that with this belt, and then Statlander beats her, which would have been just as big of a moment. But I think, obviously keep the Jade thing going. It's fine. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we got Statlander back. And now just coming right in and immediately winning the belt, I thought was an awesome moment.
And unexpected. Nobody knew it.
Right. So that was a nice surprise. I kind of had a feeling, I think we may have even predicted that she was going to come in and return here after this match, but I don't think I didn't think she was just going to have this open challenge and immediately win the belt. And I think Jade has obviously had a long ass run, 60-1 record. So I feel like she's going to get a rematch and they'll have a longer match. Like this was only like, a minute or whatever. And I think that they'll have a longer match. That'll be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I saw this take on there going around, have her tour the indies a little bit.
That could be interesting. Like Statlander touring the indies with the belt.
Well, no, I meant Jade.
Oh, Jade make an indie run. Yeah.
Kind of give her some seasoning so she comes back slightly different,
Yeah. I mean, I saw that she might be taking some time off.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely. Go, be with your family kind of thing and relax for a bit. I don't think they need to have her on TV or anything for a while.
Well, at least do a rematch sooner rather than later and then have her take her time off.
Or give her the time off and they could do the rematch at All In front of the, 70,000 people kind of thing, I think would be. Because if we put both of those ladies in a really nice spotlight
in
front of that crowd, I think both of them deserve that that spot. So
totally.
that's where I would do. I'd like have her return a few weeks before that All In show, and then they could have the rematch at All In.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, so that's what I would like to see. Because can you based on this like crazy entrance that she had with the sorority and everything, like from Vegas, imagine the Wembley Stadium Jade Cargill entrance, like what that could
that'd be pretty
possibly
nice.
look like. So yeah, good stuff there. And then what we had, I think, the three of us that were watching the show together would agree, probably the two of the best AEW pay-per-view matches potentially like ever. In the Fatal 4-Way with MJF and the Four Pillars, Jack Perry, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara. Man, this got really, really good towards the end, and just the finish was so brilliant with the headlock.
Freaking out on the live stream because it was so genius.
It really was, man. I just loved it.
Like I said, MJ, like everyone, a lot of people claim, they're once in a generation talent and all that bullshit, but there's only one person who is actually believable, and that is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's the only one that you could say, yeah, he legit is.
If you haven't yet, you need to go out of your way to watch the post-media press conference thing with MJF just once again, just
and completely... I love that when Michael Hamflett from Michael Sidgwick from What Culture went to ask a question, he paused and he said, "Now, just so you guys know, that wrestling podcast is the only one worth the damn listen."
Right.
Like, fucking A. Because it's true. They do this 20-minute podcast once a week. They call it Get the Tables. It's their little panel show.
Nice.
And him and Hamflett, they're known as the Dadly Boys because they're both dads. And it's just a little like 20-minute half-hour video of discussion. And what I like about Sidgwick in particular is he looks at it like I do, logically. And it makes a lot of sense because you can tell that he's studied wrestling, and I really value. I like his opinion. He may come off as a pretentious prick, but I get it.
Yeah. So definitely go check that podcast out if you haven't.
Yeah, go check out What Culture Wrestling and Cultaholic. Those are like the two best out there.
Definitely. Let's talk about this main event, which. There was some debate online heading in. Should this be the main event or should the Fatal 4-Way be the main event? Both matches, I think, worthy to have that slot. But, man, Anarchy in the Arena, round 2, coming off of last year, which I think they set such a high bar last year that I don't know if they could have even possibly, even if they tried as hard as they could, match what we got last year. But, doing something a little bit different with some newer creative spots, I think was great. But also with all the callbacks, there were so many callbacks in this match and so many crazy shit that we just have never seen before, like the exploding super kick.
Yeah.
And
the barefoot on the thumbtacks.
Foot on the thumbtacks is just absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Matt Jackson with one foot reminded me of the match against FTR. There were some other callbacks like the poker chip with the barbed wire, and some other stuff. But I love the pile driver into the back of the truck outside the arena was great. And then of course the closing angle that they did with Don Callis and the joining of the Blackpool Combat Club of him and Takeshita as well was brilliant. And you kind of figured with Callis out there on commentary that somehow he's going to get involved in the finish. Yeah. And that's exactly.
I said if you see Don Callis out there, you know who's going to win. And naturally, like a minute he was out there, I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah. And just so much crazy stuff in this match. But
totally. I think go to your way and watch it. It was great.
But with the involvement of Takeshita and Don Callis at the end.
Great fit for the Blackpool Combat Club. I think he's a better fit than Wheeler Yuta at this point.
Yeah, this is stuff I've been predicting for a bit now that I thought Callis and Takeshita would join up with it. Like Callis managing that group, not they need a manager, but I mean they did pretty well with Regal. So I feel like Don Callis in there, just the piece of shit that he is.
Once they started going after them, it was like, okay, I knew that was going to happen. I just didn't know when.
Yeah. So it just real brilliant booking stuff, I think, here. And then what you mentioned, Wheeler Yuta actually pinned Kenny Omega after all the shenanigans to get the victory for the Blackpool Combat Club, and they stand tall as the show goes off the air. And then after the show went off the air, Kenny Omega cut a promo, and there's video, all sorts of fan shot video footage out there of it, where he teased that they're outnumbered now, but he has a friend or two that he might call. So I think, and as this match was going on, the crowd was chanting Ibushi at the end. I think we've talked about it for weeks and weeks now, that Kota Ibushi coming in makes all the sense in the world. And
then who would be the other one?
If you mentioned a couple friends, that's interesting. I feel like that might be something with Forbidden Door, involving Forbidden Door, because the rumor is we're going to get Moxley and Okada, which they've set up at New Japan shows already.
Right. But I mean, who would be that other friend, though?
The other friend is Okada.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So Ibushi and Okada would be the two friends. If there's two of them, I think Ibushi's the obvious one. I think I would be shocked if this is not all leading to the return of the Golden Lovers with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. But I think if there's a second friend involved that's going to play into the mix somehow, especially since we got Forbidden Door coming up next in a few weeks, I think Okada would, because the another interesting thing to note is that Omega and Okada had a surprise team up the night after the Tokyo Dome show at the New Japan Dash, or whatever they call it, back on January 2nd. January 5th. So I think that that team up they'll play off of that a little bit too.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think this is all leading to a massive blood and guts match to culminate the feud, with the 5-on-5 being, you have the Blackpool Combat Club, Danielson, Moxley, Yuta, Claudio, and Takeshita going up against the four elite guys, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and Kota Ibushi. So that's right. I don't know when or where that match is going to take place. I think with Forbidden Door coming up next, you focus on that next. And then I think Blood and Guts, I believe last year was like a week or two after Forbidden Door. So I would be maybe they do it at Wembley. Maybe I don't know. I don't think so, because I think that we might get. No, I think there's either Stadium Stampede involving all of them, so you could do Blood and Guts and Stadium Stampede. I mean, it's just kind of more of the same, but I think it makes more sense that they'll do Ospreay Omega 3 at Wembley.
Yeah, okay, I guess so.
Yeah. But I do think Blood and Guts will be in July, because
I was gonna say, isn't there like a pay-per-view again a couple weeks later?
Well, there's All In and then All Out's the next weekend.
Yeah, so maybe All Out.
Yeah, but it's also going to be in Chicago, and you're going to have CM Punk there, and so maybe we're not even get the Elite on that show.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. There's a lot of ways that they can go with it, but I do think we're going to get Blood and Guts sometime in July, just based off of last year.
Okay.
And whether that's this match, I think that's what we're getting in for Blood and Guts.
Yeah. What else can they do? Like you said,
I don't think it's going to be at all, and I think it's going to be a lot. It's be before that. I think it'll be possibly. Just looking at the schedule here, it might be in Canada. I mean, Canada's getting all the good shows this year.
Nowhere near broke ass me, unfortunately.
But I think you got Saskatoon, Saskatchewan on the 12th, Edmonton the week before that. Those are both on Wednesdays. Those could both potentially have that Blood and Guts match. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where that goes. But I mean, they're also struggling to sell tickets for this big Boston Garden show in July that I'm going to. So
that's a roll hotbed.
And I'm not going to put it out there too much, because I'm going to be attending that show. So I don't want to
you bastard.
I don't want to. I can't put that out there yet, because it's like I can't put it too much, because then I don't want to be disappointed that it's just going to be a dynamite. But there's also the fact that people will be whining and bitching on the internet. Oh, they're just copying WWE did Survivor Series at TD Garden in Boston. Why does AEW have to do their I'm the internet. I'm a fucking mark on the internet. Oh my god. Anyway, we've gone off the rails here for a minute, but Soda, I did not watch. Speaking of WWE and fucking marks, I did not watch the Night of Champions show. So can you give us your thoughts on that and what was it a good show? I heard there was the matches. There was a lot of really good matches on the show.
There were. So the first match with Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, it was predictable. Of course, Seth Rollins won. It was a really good match. Some great psychology in it. Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch was better than I thought it would be. It was more of a brawl than a wrestling match, which was really nice. They went about 15 minutes with that one. Gunther versus Mustafa.
Wait, who won that match? Trish?
Trish, yeah.
Okay.
Because Zoe Stark
right.
came out, and it looks like she might have broken Becky's nose again.
Oh my god.
So it's like, because there's a picture going around of after that with her face covered in blood, eerily similar to the last time.
Okay.
And then you had Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. Now, this was a surprisingly good match. I thought it would be more in Gunther's favor, but there were moments,
like almost a glorified squash.
There were moments where you actually believe that Mustafa actually might pull out the win. Like, it was really well booked.
Who's going to be the one to finally beat Gunther, do you think?
That's I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's pretty hard to tell. Asuka defeated Bianca Belair for the.
Why didn't they do that at Mania? What was the point? There's nothing because it's stupid. They could have just done it at Mania, and then this could have been the rematch.
She's a heel now, like she's a full blown heel now. She won the match by she had like tape on her fingers or whatever. She used the mist and she got it all over her fingers. And when Bianca had her in her finisher, she rubbed it in her eyes. And then she hit her with her move, 2 kicks to the back of the head and won. So she's very much a heel now. I
thought she's been a heel for a while though.
No, but I mean, she was like leaning towards heel around Mania. Now she's a full blown heel since the trade to SmackDown, since the draft, I should say.
I think it's a good choice to end the Bianca reign, which I think has been a pretty fucking great reign from all here. I've watched some of her matches, but
it has been really great. But it's also gone on. Was at the point where it's like, oh, okay, what can you do next? You know,
it just bums me out because like Asuka still hasn't really had her WrestleMania moment. She lost to Charlotte, she lost to whoever, and she's losing to Bianca, and then she beats her a few weeks later in Saudi Arabia. It's like, come on.
I think I have, now that we have Triple H in the book, and I know Vince does his shit, but from what I understand, it's the main event, primarily the main event. So I do think Asuka will get it sooner rather than later. Speaking of squash matches, Rhea Ripley pinned Natalya on her birthday in 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Whose idea was that?
I don't know, but you know what?
Natty's?
You know what? I think it's smart. I think it's smart to.
I don't hate it. Just hearing about it, I kind of laughed. I was like, yeah.
The next match, Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, wasn't bad. The ending is interesting.
He beat him.
It was very interesting. Cody passed out, like kind of Austin-esque. Interesting booking on that one. And then of course the main event, which if you, my opinion, was a better main event. It was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa. Sami Zayn came out in traditional Muslim garb because he is Assyrian, and now they are kind of at a truce at the moment. So he came out to a huge pop, and then after Paul Heyman did the intro for the Bloodline, the ring announcer was about to do the one for Owens and Zayn when Zayn grabbed the mic, and he did the ring intro in Arabic because he speaks fluent Arabic. So that was really cool. And then they had a really great match full of ups and downs, great storytelling. At the end, the Usos appeared.
Here's why. Sorry.
And then at the end of the pay-per-view, the Usos appeared, and they finally turned on Roman Reigns. Well, Jimmy more so than Jay. Jay's very hesitant, but Jimmy finally snapped, and he super kicked Roman in the head. And when Jay went to check on him, he said, "No, what are you doing?" I'm doing what you should have done a long time ago, and then he super kicks Roman in the head again, and then Solo Sikoa takes the pin for the win, and the character work on Roman after the match, because you have the winner celebrating in the ring, but the camera is on Roman because it's the first time in 3 years where he's left to someone else's music, and you can tell he's kind of he's shaken, you tell it got to him. So I'm really
His team lost the match. He didn't lose the match.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people were thinking Roman was going to take the pin here.
Me as well. I thought that was going to be played very much so into the story, but no, I'm looking forward to SmackDown on Friday because this is going to be interesting.
Okay. The end of the bloodline.
Yeah,
it's all dissolving. Yeah.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's going to go down in the annals of history on the same level as Austin McMahon, as the Mega Powers, as Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. This is going to be one of those. They're going to have its own DVD on sort of thing.
Top 10 wrestling feuds of all time.
It's going to be remembered for a long time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's still a shame that didn't have Cody getting the win in there, but whatever. Yeah. That would have eclipsed it for me. I would have been okay.
I think that's where it ends.
Yeah, man. That's a lot of people are saying, WrestleMania next year, it's in Philly. You know, you just have Cody win there. But watch that be the case. Everybody think, okay, Cody's finally getting his win here again.
Yeah.
Next year, it's been yet another year. And then, nope, he loses again.
Oh, if that happens, holy shit.
I'm predicting it now. It's fucking happening, Soda.
If that happens, you'd be like, okay, now you're really trying to mirror Dusty here. Knock it off.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I think this Roman shit's going to go on for he's going to be champ for 8. They're trying to have him beat San Martino's record. That's right.
Caramba. That's going to be fucking tough to pull off.
Just saying. What else?
San Martino wrestled more than Roman does.
But it's going to get so boring because they're going to run out of people for him to beat constantly.
Exactly.
Anyway, on to some sillier things here. Let's talk about Impact Under Siege, which I got a chance to watch. Oh man, this show. A lot of y'all have been sleeping on Impact Wrestling, and this show proved why. This is a fucking awesome show from really from top to bottom, but then
they should be sleeping with one eye open. Jesus.
Sure, but then from top to bottom, I think it was really good. The ending I hated, but we can get to that with the return of one Bully Ray. Oh God,
I didn't even realize he'd left.
But the pre-show matches were actually really fun. Impact is one of those shows where it's even the pre-shows were worth watching.
Nice.
Recently. I don't know if you're aware of Rosemary, who's a wrestler, Canadian.
I know who she is.
Fellow Canadian, who's been in Impact Wrestling for I think 8 years now, something really long. As the Rosemary character, she has now changed her gimmick, and she is going by her real name, which is Courtney Rush or Courtney Rush.
Courtney Rush.
So it's basically Rosemary without all the paint, but it's just kind of like a goth.
I thought it was a previous gimmick, just the way, because I don't know much about her. That's just the way we were playing it off. It sounded like it was a former gimmick.
Yeah, I think that she was that gimmick before on the Indies before she joined Impact potentially. Maybe I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But so you had her and Jessica Havoc winning the Knockouts World Tag Team titles on the pre-show. It was the one belt change of the night, and it was on the pre-show, which I think is such a TNA thing to do. Then we had Joe Hendry against Dirty Dango, and dude, if you haven't watched this Dirty Dango promo from Impact last week, it's very meta. But it's him. His new gimmick is he's like a Cornette or a an Eric Bischoff. I'm old and I hate the modern era of wrestling and and all that kind of stuff. Guys, you need to go out of your way to watch this promo. It's pretty damn funny.
Yeah, I gotta check it out later.
So I like this new gimmick that he has, but he still lost here to Joe Hendry because, of course, we all believe in Joe Hendry. Then we had recently the return of Nick Aldis to Impact Wrestling, and he had a pretty solid match with Kenny King in the opener. I'm sure they're setting him up to be a challenger for the Impact title down the line, probably to lose to Macklin before we get the return of Josh Alexander eventually.
That's safe to say.
Yeah. And then in the middle of this all, we had a brawl bust out in the crowd between Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly, which it's just been a continuous brawl. The last what feels like month of Impact has just been the two of them brawling throughout whatever arena they're in, which has just been great. But this ended with I believe it was Killer Kelly. That's a tongue twister. Being choked out with a chain. So to me, it seemed like they, fingers crossed for this one, might be setting up a dog collar match between these two, which I would fucking love.
I would definitely get the pay-per-view to watch that.
That's worth the $20 or $15 purchase of an Impact show.
That's all it is.
For that match.
More often.
Usually, I think it's like, although maybe the bigger pay-per-views they have might be a little bit more, but yeah.
Okay, so it would be about $20 Canadian, which isn't too bad. But yeah, I totally would get that. My God.
Yeah.
You remember my reaction to the last dog collar match.
Yeah.
It was my favorite match of the year.
Especially with the knockouts in there with Masha and Killer Kelly. That sounds fucking awesome. But we then had this just horrible feud. Like, they talked TNA, like the worst of TNA. They've had this feud with Sami Callihan and Diener, this like weird cult shit where you have like a million guys, shades of like when the Dark Order had like 100 guys for some reason that would run in and start beating everybody down. But the talking point here was the return of Jake Christ. So Jake Christ, former tag partner of Sami Callihan.
Okay.
Two of them and Rich Swann defeated the Design, which is Diener, the former Connor from the Ascension, and the former Allen Angels from the Dark Order as a group, and it's just awful. It's a weird tag team, and it sucks. That's all I can say. But then we had the Impact. Well, she had, this was her second match already in the company. The former Naomi Trinity taking on Giselle Shaw, which was a fucking awesome match, guys.
I follow Impact on Twitter, and seeing the clips, it looked like a good match.
It was really, really good. Trinity looks fucking phenomenal since she's been back, just in the two matches that she's had. You would never have noticed that she was gone for like 10 months, I think. She didn't have a match for like 10 months. And she's had 2 matches so far. I think they've taped the third one that hasn't aired yet. But both, I just thought she's looked absolutely amazing in ring. So really, really excited to see where that goes with her, because I think she's under contract for a few months. But, I think she'll be a free agent after that. And I think it would be stupid for AEW not to try to go after her, because she's fucking amazing.
I think, Impact or NWA was probably the best place for her, because
right now,
not as big a star as Mercedes is. So,
right.
That has to prove herself a little bit.
And a lot of these, whoever it is, just talent in general, sometimes they leave WWE, they go to Impact, and then they use Impact as like a launching pad to like go to AEW or back to WWE. Yeah. So which is a smart plan. You kind of go somewhere and like reset. Yeah, definitely. So really, really looking forward to seeing what they continue to do with her. I would think she'd probably have a run, even if it's a short run, but a run with the Impact Knockouts title. And then maybe Mickie James is able to come back somewhere down the line. You have that match. That'd be really good. I think, given the results of what happens later on the show, I think that it's inevitable that you'll have Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts title. Probably at Slammiversary, which is coming up in like a month or two here. But I think the best match on this show, hands down for me, even though the main event was just all sorts of crazy, was Ace Austin and Chris Bay of Bullet Club taking on Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. And I don't know if you ever used to watch NXT UK, but these two guys, these two guys always had a great match. It didn't matter who they were in there with, Mustache Mountain or Gallus or whoever. But this match was just amazing and really put these guys, I think, maybe back on the map a little bit. Like, oh yeah, Mark Andrews and Flash Webster, remember how great they are. And they also have a third member, a female member of the group now in Danny Luna, and it looks like she's going to be wrestling coming up on Impact. So that'll be kind of fun to follow. I think they would be a great signing for Impact, for sure. But then we had Trey Miguel versus Chris Sabin for the X Division Championship, which is what you would expect from an X Division Championship, with a lot of crazy flippy stuff, but shenanigans at the end, and Trey Miguel retains. Then we had a number one contenders match for the Impact World Title, which was won by Alex Shelley, and I figured that would be the case because you have the big mean heel in Steve Maclin as the champ right now, and going up against a babyface would make sense next. And so I figured it would
Impact legend as well.
I figured it would be Alex Shelley or Frankie Kazarian, because both of those guys Impact legends, and I think either of them have won the world title. Maybe Kazarian did. I can't remember, but I think
I'm not sure.
Both of them, I think, would have great matches with Maclin. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna get Alex Shelley versus Maclin next. That should be a great match. And then we had the Knockouts Championship between Deonna Purrazzo and Jordynne Grace, and the stipulation was that if Jordynne Grace lost, she would never again be allowed to challenge for the Knockouts title, as long as Deonna Purrazzo is champion. But doesn't matter anyway.
I thought it was I misunderstood. I thought it was a loser leaves town style match.
It kind of was. I mean, they had that little bit in there about it as long as Deonna's the champion, but it served as a loser leaves town match with Jordynne losing, and then of course her contract is up with Impact. So who knows where she'll go next?
That's for sure.
I think that both WWE and AEW will make a big play for her because she's really, really good.
I think she would be a better fit in WWE personally.
Possibly, but then again, I think AEW's women's division needs all the star power it can get. Yeah.
In ring, I'm with you on AEW. I just think on the whole package, I think WWE could do something special or something good, very good. So,
and maybe she doesn't go to either big company right away and does some stuff on the indies, right? New Japan. Yeah. I mean, you can see her challenging Willow for the IWGP or the New Japan Strong Women's title. I think that would be a really cool match, and maybe because New Japan a lot of times they'll sign like a few match deal, so it doesn't have to be there long term. So I would love to see her kind of make a run there.
Cool.
Yeah, and then our crazy, absolutely batshit insane no DQ main event with all sorts of. You thought the Anarchy in the Arena was bloody, man. This Maclin PCO match was all sorts of batshit wild. And I think the standout spot for me was PCO literally getting his mouth stapled shut by Maclin, and then taking a pair of pliers and ripping out the staples. like just describing it for you. My God.
Even Moxley won't do that.
No. PCO, this has got to be the craziest Canadian in pro wrestling by like a country mile.
I'd probably say the craziest wrestler by a mile at this point.
Also, given he's like 58 years old.
Well, yeah, I remember watching him when I was like 10 years old when him and Jacques Rougeau were the Quebecers. The WWE Tag Team Champions managed by Johnny Polo when he was who went on to be Raven.
But he's
been at it.
Yeah, but like back then, I mean, it was just like
for a while too.
He did, and then like back then, it was more like just your traditional WWF style wrestling. Like him in the last decade or however long it's been as PCO, Perfect Creation 1. He's done so much fucking crazy shit. He took Maclin at one point in this match took a cinder block and put it on his back, and then took a giant mallet, like Triple H mallet, and just smashed the fucking cinder block over PCO's back. Like, God.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, like you look at him now and you look at him then, you wouldn't think it's the same person. He's so unrecognizable.
Just nuts. Just totally nuts. And then, of course, you did have Maclin retaining the title, which you figured he would. But then, the return of Bully Ray at the end and taking out taking out not only just the return of Bully Ray, which is annoying in and of itself, because I thought the show the last few weeks without him has been significantly better. You had Scott D'Amore come out and get put through, I shit you not, a burning, flaming table.
Yeah.
So that was a thing that happened on the Impact show. There you go, everybody.
Where it's going to go from here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just so sick of Bully Ray. Like, get this fucking man off my television screen, for the love of God. Just have enough. Go retire, dude. Go do Busted Open. Like, get the fuck off my screen. But I think that's pretty much it, Soda. We didn't have like a whole lot of news. I think a lot of that stuff was from like the pay-per-views and the shows.
Well, I mean, there's like 2 injuries over in WWE that are, I find the situation interesting. Liv Morgan and Dakota Kai are both out long-term with injuries. And funny enough, it happened in the same match. Dakota Kai got injured trying to protect Liv Morgan after she got injured.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're both out for a while. Yeah. That's probably the most significant news that I can think of.
Yeah, we talked about the Mercedes injury last week. I hope she heals up. I hope Jamie Hayter heals up. And again, no follow-up to her injury.
She's going to be out for a while, sounds like.
God, it really would be just awful if she can't, wrestle at that All-In show in England, man. It's going to suck. But, oh, well.
But you know what? I'm very intrigued by what the future holds with Tony Storm and the Outcasts at the top. Like, it's going to be interesting.
Somebody asked her in the post-media thing if she'd be interested in bringing in Mercedes to the group, and she said, "I don't think Mercedes would really vibe with the Outcasts, but I wouldn't mind breaking her other leg or arm. What is it? What is she hurt? She fucked up her ankle. So yeah, I wouldn't mind breaking her other ankle."
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and did we talk about that last week? That we talked about it was on the fly decision to have Willow win. But did you hear? Did you find out? Did you know that it was Mercedes that made the call?
I think I did know that.
Yeah. Holy, that's ballsy.
Yeah. Like, what else are they going to do? They're going to have her win and then have to immediately vacate the belt. So I think that was a good call.
It was a great call. I can't remember ever hearing of that happening, at least in recent memory. Like, I know it happened in the territory days, but I don't think I've ever heard that happen. So I was like, that's pretty ballsy of her.
Yeah. So a little follow up on that from last week. Other than injuries, like from last night from Double or Nothing, we haven't heard of anything, which is good. I think, like given all the crazy shit that went down. Other than MJF apparently had a little bit of a forearm injury, but apparently it's not serious enough to keep him away for any time.
Anyway, so he'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, he might wrestle again next at Forbidden Door, but I really think that they should do the gimmick where he refuses to participate in anything related to New Japan. He did address it in the press conference.
I was going to say the press conference. Yeah, he's like, I fucking want to work there.
Right. So it is a kind of a Tony Khan call, I think, at the end of the day. But you got so many other belts that you can have on that show. You know, Orange Cassidy, international title. He teased wanting to go up against Zack Sabre Jr., who has the New Japan TV title. As much as I think a lot of people want to see Zack and Bryan Danielson, maybe they do Zack and Danielson at All In.
Who got asked about Nigel McGuinness, because apparently he's coming back.
Danielson and McGuinness at All In. There's so many possibilities. I mean, AEW it's an open book for them right now. They have so much stuff planned for the future, and I'm sorry, people on the internet that are shitting all over it and saying that it sucks and it's going to fail, but I think $8.1 million fucking gate for All In is the company's going to go bankrupt within 6 months. Sure. Yeah. So there you go. I don't really have anything else, Soda, unless you got anything. I think we could probably get out of here and go watch Raw if that's what you're into. And
go eat dinner.
Go eat dinner. This is the last show I'm going to be doing from this location. So
yeah, it's going to be wild. Better internet.
I did the live stream. Yep, fingers crossed. If the internet's shit, then I'm gonna get my own internet. That's good. So that's my plan. But this is it for for this spot. I might be on a picnic table next week. Remains to be seen. But yeah, signing off from the I don't even know what to call this place. The fucking shithole. I don't know. Schmo shit hole. I did a lot of Schmodown fucking streams from this location.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking LGR shit from this location. And shit and more shit. And I actually don't physically shit in here. I do that in the bathroom. But
well, they're gonna say do that in the backyard. I'm like, really?
Okay, let's end this shit before it gets too much further off the rails. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm sure everybody. It seems like there is a million YouTube channels doing their live Double or Nothing reviews right now. So if you're watching this on the replay, we appreciate it. Give the video a thumbs up, and we'll be back next week when there's probably a little bit less going on, and I will be sitting at a undisclosed location, far from the bowels of shithole Vermont here. So we'll see y'all next week, Soda. Thanks as always, man, and we'll talk to y'all next time.